Marcus Chen had delivered packages to Maple Street 847 times in 6 years. He knew every house, every dog, every routine. So when he saw the pink bicycle still chained to the lamppost after 3 days, the same bicycle that belonged to 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez, who'd been missing for 72 hours, he knew something the police had missed. But what Marcus discovered next would turn a simple delivery route into a race against time that no one saw coming. Marcus Chen wasn't always a delivery driver. For 15 years, he'd been Detective Chen with the Portland Police Bureau's Missing Persons Unit. His colleagues called him the Finder because he had an uncanny ability to spot patterns others missed, to see the details that cracked impossible cases. That was before the Morrison case. Before a serial kidnapper slipped through his fingers because Marcus had followed protocol instead of his instincts. Before 12-year-old Timothy Morrison was found dead in a warehouse Marcus had wanted to search but couldn't get a warrant for in time. The guilt ate at him for months. Even after they caught the killer, even after his captain assured him it wasn't his fault, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that his hesitation had cost a child his life. So he quit, turned in his badge, sold his house, and took the first job that came along. Delivery driver for Quick Ship Express. "It's honest work," he told his wife Sarah when she questioned the career change. "No life or death decisions, just packages from point A to point B." But you can't really retire from being a detective. The mind that once solved cases now memorized delivery routes with photographic precision. Marcus knew that Mrs. Patterson at 1247 Maple received her arthritis medication every Tuesday. He knew the Johnson family got Amazon packages every other Thursday. He knew the Rodriguez family had stopped ordering anything since their daughter Emma disappeared. That's why the pink bicycle bothered him so much. Emma Rodriguez vanished on a Monday afternoon. She'd been riding her bike to her friend's house 6 blocks away, a trip she'd made dozens of times. The bike was found Tuesday morning by a jogger, properly locked to a lamppost on Maple Street, just 3 blocks from her destination. The police canvassed the area. They interviewed neighbors, checked security cameras, organized search parties. They found nothing. No witnesses, no suspicious vehicles, no signs of struggle. Emma had simply vanished, leaving only her beloved pink bicycle as evidence she'd ever been there. By Thursday morning, when Marcus made his regular delivery rounds, the neighborhood felt different. Front yards that usually buzzed with children's laughter were empty. Windows that normally stayed open were shuttered tight. Missing child posters had sprouted on every lamppost and mailbox like desperate flowers. Marcus slowed his van as he approached the pink bicycle. Still there, still locked, still waiting for a little girl who might never come home. That's when he noticed something the police hadn't. The bicycle was chained to the lamppost directly in front of 1256 Maple Street. According to Marcus's delivery database, that house belonged to Mr. Harold Vance, a 67-year-old retiree who'd been receiving packages regularly for the past 2 years. Always home, always friendly, always eager to chat about his garden, but Marcus hadn't delivered anything to Mr. Vance in 3 weeks. More strange, in the 6 years Marcus had been working this route, he'd never seen children playing in front of Vance's house. Kids gravitated towards certain homes, usually those with toys in the yard, or families with children of their own. Vance's house was always notably absent from the neighborhood's social geography. Marcus pulled out his phone and scrolled through his delivery app. The last package to 1256 Maple had been delivered on Monday, the same day Emma disappeared. The package was from a toy company. Contents: children's art supplies and coloring books. Harold Vance lived alone. He had no grandchildren. He'd never mentioned visiting family. So why was he suddenly ordering children's toys? Marcus sat in his van, staring at the house. Everything looked normal. Well-maintained lawn, clean windows, no signs of disturbance. But his detective instincts, dormant for 2 years, were suddenly screaming. He pulled out his phone to call the police, then stopped. What was he going to tell them? That a man had ordered art supplies? That seemed suspicious to a former detective who'd made a career out of seeing patterns where others saw coincidence. They'd think he was a burned-out ex-cop trying to relive his glory days. But Emma Rodriguez had been missing for 3 days, and Marcus had promised himself he'd never hesitate again when a child's life was at stake. Marcus parked his van 2 blocks away and walked back to Maple Street. He learned during his detective years that sometimes the best intelligence came from simply observing. He positioned himself across the street, behind a mature oak tree, where he could watch 1256 without being seen. The house appeared empty. No movement in the windows, no cars in the driveway. But there was something off about the backyard. The fence was higher than most in the neighborhood, at least 8 feet tall, completely blocking any view of what lay behind it. As Marcus watched, a dark sedan pulled into the driveway. A tall man in his 40s emerged, someone Marcus had never seen during his regular deliveries. The man glanced around nervously before hurrying to the front door. He didn't knock. He had a key. Marcus's pulse quickened. Harold Vance was supposed to live alone. The man was inside for exactly 11 minutes. When he came out, he was carrying a garbage bag and a small cardboard box. He loaded both into his trunk and drove away quickly. Marcus memorized the license plate. Oregon plates XKM 7845. 20 minutes later, Harold Vance returned. He parked his old Honda Civic in the driveway and shuffled to his front door like nothing had happened. But Marcus noticed something that made his blood run cold. Vance was carrying a small pink backpack, the same style and color described in every missing child poster in the neighborhood. Marcus's hands shook as he dialed 911. But before he could speak, his phone buzzed with a text message from his dispatch center. Special delivery to 1256 Maple Street. High priority. Customer waiting. The package was from the same toy company as Monday's delivery. Another children's art set. Marcus stared at the address, his mind racing. This was his chance to get inside legally, to see what Harold Vance was hiding. But it was also dangerous. If Vance really had Emma, approaching alone could put both Marcus and the child at risk. He called his dispatcher. "Hey, it's Marcus. That delivery to 1256 Maple Street. Any special instructions?" "Customer called specifically to request you," came the reply. "Said he'd been expecting this package and wanted to make sure it arrived today." That was impossible. Marcus hadn't told anyone he was investigating Vance. Unless Vance had been watching him too. Marcus's detective training kicked in. He called his former partner, Detective Ray Sullivan, who still worked missing persons. "Ray, it's Marcus. I need you to run a plate for me. Oregon XKM 7845, and pull everything you have on Harold Vance, 1256 Maple Street." "Marcus, you know I can't." "Ray, I think I found Emma Rodriguez." The line went quiet. Ray Sullivan had worked the Morrison case with Marcus. He knew why Marcus had left the force, and he knew Marcus wouldn't make this call lightly. "Give me 5 minutes." While he waited, Marcus called Sarah. "Honey, if something happens to me in the next hour, I need you to call Detective Ray Sullivan immediately. Tell him to check 1256 Maple Street." "Marcus, what's going on? You're scaring me." "I hope I'm wrong, but I think I found the missing girl." Ray called back with information that confirmed Marcus's worst fears. Harold Vance had no criminal record, but the license plate belonged to his nephew, Dennis Vance, who had served 2 years for attempted kidnapping in California before moving to Oregon 6 months ago. Dennis Vance had been living with his uncle since his release. The address change had somehow never been reported to his parole officer. "Marcus, we're sending units now. Don't do anything stupid." But Marcus was already walking toward 1256 Maple Street, package in hand. Police sirens would alert the suspects and might trigger a violent response. Emma had been missing for 3 days. If she was alive, every minute counted. Marcus rang the doorbell, forcing himself to appear calm and professional. Harold Vance answered, looking exactly as he always did, elderly, harmless, slightly confused. "Package for you, Mr. Vance," Marcus said with a smile. "Oh, yes, I've been expecting this." Vance signed for the package, but his hands were trembling slightly. "You know, I've been wondering, do you ever notice things on your route? Things that seem unusual?" It was a test. Vance was trying to determine if Marcus suspected anything. "Not really," Marcus replied casually. "I just focus on getting packages delivered on time." Vance relaxed visibly. "Good. That's good. Some people, they stick their noses where they don't belong. That can be dangerous." Through the partially open door, Marcus could see into the living room. On the coffee table were the art supplies from Monday's delivery. Opened. Used. Crayons scattered across coloring books. Someone small had been drawing pictures. "Well, I should get going," Marcus said, backing away from the door. "Lots more deliveries today." But as he turned to leave, he heard something that stopped him cold. A small voice from somewhere inside the house, muffled but unmistakable. "I want to go home." Emma Rodriguez was alive. Marcus had two choices. Wait for backup that might take 10 crucial minutes to arrive, or act now while Vance thought he was unsuspected. The memory of Timothy Morrison, the boy he'd failed to save because he followed protocol, made the decision for him. He spun around and pushed past Vance into the house. "Where is she?" Vance stumbled backward, shocked. "What are you talking about? Get out of my house." But Marcus was already moving, following the sound of the child's voice. He found Emma in a basement room that had been converted into a makeshift bedroom. She was unharmed, but obviously frightened, sitting on a small bed, surrounded by the toys and art supplies that Vance had been ordering. "Emma, I'm here to take you home," Marcus said gently, kneeling beside her. The little girl looked up with tearful eyes. "Are you a police officer?" "I used to be, and right now I'm your way out of here." Footsteps thundered down the basement stairs. Dennis Vance appeared, much larger and more threatening than his uncle. "You made a big mistake, delivery boy." But Marcus had faced down armed suspects for 15 years. A ex-con with poor impulse control didn't intimidate him. What did concern him was getting Emma to safety. "The police are already on their way," Marcus said calmly, positioning himself between Emma and Dennis. "Your uncle's been ordering packages that led them right to you. It's over." Dennis lunged forward, but Marcus was ready. Years of police training took over as he sidestepped the attack and used Dennis's momentum to send him crashing into the wall. The sound of police sirens was growing louder. "Emma, we're leaving now," Marcus said, scooping up the frightened girl and carrying her toward the stairs. Harold Vance tried to block their path, but the approaching sirens had broken his nerve. He stepped aside, muttering about not knowing anything, about Dennis doing this on his own. Marcus carried Emma out of the house just as 3 police cars screeched to a halt in front of 1256 Maple Street. Detective Ray Sullivan was first out of his vehicle. "Is she hurt?" Ray called out. "She's okay," Marcus replied, setting Emma down as paramedics rushed forward. "But you'll want to search that basement carefully and arrest both of them." The investigation revealed that Dennis Vance had been planning Emma's abduction for weeks, studying her routine and waiting for the perfect opportunity. His uncle Harold had been a reluctant accomplice, terrified of his nephew but too afraid to report him. Emma had been kept in the basement room, told she was staying there temporarily while her parents were away. The art supplies and toys were Dennis's attempt to keep her calm and compliant while he figured out his next move. The break in the case had come down to Marcus's ability to see patterns. The pink bicycle's location, the unusual toy orders, the suspicious timing. Details that meant nothing individually, but formed a clear picture when viewed by someone trained to recognize them. The media called it a miracle. The police department called it excellent detective work. Emma's family called Marcus a hero. But for Marcus, it was something simpler. the chance to save a child when it mattered most. 6 months later, Marcus was still delivering packages for Quick Ship Express, but now he also worked part-time as a consultant for the Portland Police Bureau, helping train officers to spot patterns in missing persons cases. Emma Rodriguez had fully recovered from her ordeal. She still lived on Maple Street, still rode her bicycle to friends' houses, but now she always waved when she saw Marcus's delivery van, and he always waved back. The pink bicycle had been returned to her the day after the rescue. It sat in the Rodriguez family's front yard now, no longer chained to a lamp post, no longer a symbol of fear and loss. Marcus still knew every house on his route, every dog, every routine, but now he also knew something else, that sometimes the most important deliveries aren't packages at all. They're second chances, and sometimes, just sometimes, the person everyone overlooks is exactly the person everyone needs. Marcus Chen had delivered packages to Maple Street 847 times. On the 848th time, he delivered something far more precious, a little girl home to her family. The route continues. The packages keep coming. But Marcus Chen, former detective turned delivery driver, knows that some deliveries change everything. And he's watching. Always watching. Because you never know when the next package might hold the key to bringing someone home.